Hey everyone, we're back with a special edition of an RPG Elite video release. Let's go. Welcome back, folks, to RPG Elite. If you are new to the channel, I want to welcome my greenies. That's my little term for you guys who are new. I want to welcome my returnees as well. And I want to say, y'all, why don't y'all just become elite? What's up, Leets? What's up, Leets? Returnees, this is what I want you to do. You know what I want you to do. I'm always telling you what I want you to do. I want you to hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell. And then all the rest of you guys, hey, if you like the content here on the channel, then you know what I want you to do. I want you to crush that like button. Oh, annihilate it. Okay, second part of a two-part video, and it's a foundational video. And some of you are a little confused. Where is he going with this? What's going on? Let me tell you about as quick as I can, even though it might be still a little long, but let me tell you about as quick as I can why this is a necessity. Now, let me say a little something, and I'm not saying this to be arrogant or anything like that, but I am going to say it how I'm going to say it. I've been a Negro for over 50 years. I've been in this RPG thing for a good portion of that, 35 years plus, something like that. And in those 35 plus years, I have never experienced any overt prejudice. Never. And you got to understand something. I have always been the black-eyed peas in the rice. Know what I mean? So I have never experienced any overt prejudice, but let me tell you what I have experienced. What I have experienced is subtle, and it's not prejudice per se. It's programming. And it's from people, well-meaning, who don't know that what they are doing is off-putting to those of us of a darker shade. Now, these are people who don't think that they're doing that. As a matter of fact, they think they are doing what is acceptable. A lot of these people are doing that today. They're thinking they're rah-rah and everything for those of us Negroes, right? And they rah-rah and all that is, and I'm going to say this word, even though this word is a misnomer. We've kind of already put that into perspective. This word is a misnomer, but I'm going to say it because this is what everybody knows. Those people who do that kind of stuff, many of them are closet racists because they make everything about the shade of somebody's skin. And you, when you do that, and there's this kind of disturbing obsession, then more than likely you're a closet racist. And you're trying to cover it up by saying that you're not and rah-rah and here and there when you really are. Nobody fooled by that stuff, at least those of us who are thinking. But there is another part that they are trying not to, and sometimes y'all just trying too hard, okay? This is where you need to relax. This is the reason why I'm making these videos. Change your thinking and just relax. And the reason why this is important is because the subtle programming comes through. And those of us of a darker shade, we pick up on that. And if somebody's at your, maybe watching your tabletop RPG session, and some of y'all may do something, say something, you don't even know it, because it's programming, then that may be off-putting, and that individual who is of a darker persuasion is going to say, "Nah, I'm slick, I'm out." Now, if we want to grow the community, then our actions need to be genuine and welcoming. And the way to do that is to change your thinking, because thinking leads to action, and that reflects authenticity. And we can pick up on that as well. I mean, y'all can pick up on that, right? Y'all know when somebody's like being real and when they're not. So it's the same thing here, but we can pick up on the subtle things as well. And I've experienced that, and it's been water off a duck's back for me because there's no animosity there. That's ignorance. And I have taken some people aside and been like, yo, don't know if you know this, but, you know, and I tell them a little something, something and educate them. But some of y'all are falling right into this. Listen, I did that video from yesterday all in one shot. So today you're going to see me and I got the same clothes on because I did it all in one shot. But as I'm reading the comments today, I'm going, oh my goodness. The second part of the video addresses this right here, and they have fallen right into it, and they think they are thinking. Remember that comment? You remember that quote from yesterday, Thomas Edison? Let me pull it up again. 5% think. 10% think they think. Another 85% would rather die than think. Some of y'all in the comments are part of that 10% that think you think. And you are thinking wrong. Hence the reason for these videos. You need to change your whole thinking on this. You need a reconstruction. The mind needs to be renewed. Because once you change your thinking and how I'm laying this out, then it will be authentic. Then it will be welcoming. And then we'll pick up on that. And then we just might be interested in this thing that you're doing at this table here. What are you doing? What do you call this? Tabletop RPG. What's up with that? This is what I'm talking about. That's why I'm doing these videos. And you can't just change the externals. You can't just change the action. You can't force this stuff, because we'll pick up on that too. It's like J.C. Ryle said, a man may smile and be a villain. So in order to be genuine and maybe just not do some subtle things, the things that you thought was okay, they're not okay. In order to do that, you must change your thinking. And that's why we're doing these two videos. So let's roll right into part 2 of how to grow the tabletop RPG community, specifically in reference to the American Negro. Here's a quote, famous book from history. Not going to tell you what the book is until I get to the end of the quote. Check it. In the big lie, there is always a certain force of credibility, because the broad masses of a nation are always more easily corrupted in the deeper strata of their emotional nature than consciously or voluntarily. And thus, in the primitive simplicity of their minds, they more readily fall victims to the big lie than the small lie, since they themselves often tell small lies in little matters, but would be ashamed to resort to large-scale falsehoods. It would never come into their heads to fabricate colossal untruths, and they would not believe that others could have the impotence to distort the truth so infamously. Even though the facts which prove this to be so may be brought clearly to their minds, they will still doubt and waver and will continue to think that there may be some other explanation. Now, you want to know what book that's from? Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. So back during the World War II days, you had this thing called the OSS, or the Office of Strategic Services. And they did a psychological profile on Hitler. And this is what they came up with. His primary rules were never allow the public to cool off, never admit a fault or wrong, never concede that there may be some good in your enemy, never leave room for alternatives, never accept blame, concentrate on one enemy at a time, and blame him for everything that goes wrong. People will believe a big lie sooner than a little one, and if you repeat it frequently enough, people will sooner or later believe it. Well, this is where we're living at right now. You remember recently, I came out with a video on an RPG elite quality, and one of those qualities was that we will not play with any and everyone. And I listed the 7 player types that we won't play with. And if you remember, there was one called the activist. And it is the activist that brings this kind of nonsense to the tabletop RPG table. And they do this with an agenda. Again, go back and watch that video if you don't know what I'm talking about. They do it with an agenda to use that exclusively. Not really to play, but really to press forth whatever agenda that they have on the table for the day. The third thing is that it encourages cowardice, or it advocates cowardice. Now, we've already said 2, right? Weak-mindedness and laziness. And those are bad enough, but this one right here is evil. This is evil. But you want to know how they do it? This is how they do it. Let me read. It does this by lobbying ad hominem attacks towards those who step outside of the groupthink and think as an individual who has their own views and ideas that run counter to the group at large. Now, you know who's notorious for doing this? Negroes in America. Notorious for doing this. And then you have white people who are part of that groupthink because they have that so-called white guilt that want to tell black people who they are not. All right. This is where we're at. And then you have that mindset that you want to bring into my tabletop RPG session? Oh, hecky no. That is not going to happen. Not in this lifetime in my campaign. And so what we do is we repeat the ignorance, right? They're cowardly. They don't come at you with the truth. They want to try to beat you down. They want to bully you. And then they do something like this. They want to try to vilify you and call you all kinds of names. And this is one that's very popular in the black culture. First thing they want to do is they want to call you Uncle Tom. Oh, you trying to be white. You an Uncle Tom. Well, you're an idiot. Because if you've actually read the book, Uncle Tom is the hero of the book. I have that book sitting on my bookshelf in the room, my sitting room. Oh, what do you mean? I'm an Uncle Tom because I'm a good guy? Well, thank you very much, you idiot. If you would actually read, then you would actually be calling people Sambo. Sambo was the one that was telling on people all the time. That was the one, I mean, if you want to be accurate, right? When you start saying things like you're a traitor to your race, no, I'm not, because, well, there's only one race. I'm not a traitor to my race. We all the same here. You just don't know what you're talking about. Now, this is all pertinent to the discussion, and we've seen this kind of influx of things that have happened in the last 15, maybe 20 years that have entered into the tabletop RPG community. All right. And it's not in a good way. It's not in a good way. I will get to that as we go through the series. So at the end of the day, how do we change all of this? How do we change all of this in the tabletop RPG community? How do we be different from everybody else? The first thing we have to do is change how we think. And that means you got to get rid of the myth. You got to get rid of the myth right now. You got to start thinking as it is and stop giving in to this narrative that is false on its face, and stop repeating that stuff and start thinking for yourself. That's what you have to do. Because I've been seeing it in the comments. in that video. 4 reasons why black people don't play RPGs. I've been seeing it. Oh, well, everybody, we just want to welcome everybody. If that's the case, then stop thinking like everybody else thinks about this. Think differently. Actually, think rightly about it. That's how we can change this thing. We just don't make it an issue. It's just not a thing. Because we know the truth about this thing. And we welcome you on the basis of truth, not on the basis of some false narrative that we're trying to bring to the table and then call ourselves being social justice warriors. You need to get out of here with that nonsense, because you ain't doing us no good. That's for sure. And I see y'all coming at the horizon. I know what you about. On the for real. Then there's the other end of the spectrum where people will be like, well, I don't see color. Okay, well, that's silly, and that's actually offensive, because if you're saying that you don't see color, then you're saying that you don't see who I am. That's not what you want to say either. So don't say something silly like that. Just say, yo, I mean, I see who you are. I see the shade of your skin, and that doesn't matter. In terms of, me getting along with you, that stuff doesn't matter to me, man. We cool. I'm down with that, because that's the way that I am. It's the way I've always been in all of my life. And though I have been, I've gone through this stuff. I've had people try to bully me, try to call me an Uncle Tom, try to call me trying to act white. I've had all that happen to me. I've been through all of that. 12% of the people, the population is black, or, it depends on who you're talking to. It can go up as high as 15, it can go as low as 9%. It just depends. So 9 to 15% of the United States is black people, or Negroes, actually. Not black. Well, you could say black people. That wouldn't be accurate, because we have different shades and most of them are not black, they're brown. So let's keep on point. Negroes. So if we got 9 to 15% of the population is Negroes, all right, y'all, we probably are not going to get a whole lot of people in on this thing, but we can encourage them by changing our thinking and acting as if our thinking has changed, and welcoming them when the opportunity arises. It's that simple. But we cannot think like everybody else thinks. We can't. We can't throw the token black person or the token Asian person into the mix because we want to say we're diverse. That's nonsense. Change your thinking and then change your actions, and all the rest will just follow. So that's it, folks, for me. That's all I got. Next time, this Friday, got a new video, classic tabletop RPG time. And if you've got a game this week, I want to say happy gaming. If you liked what you saw in this video, crush that like button. And until next time, I'm going to see you on the flip, God willing. So peace and hair grease.